welcome to another episode of Practical IT. In this episode, we're going to take a look at an interesting operating system that is not based on Linux called Haiku. Haiku is basically a re-implementation of an operating system that originated in the 90s called BeOS. So let's take a look at the install process and play around with a few of the included applications. As this is alpha level software, please don't be surprised if you see an application crash or two during the demo. But let's take a look, and who knows, it might be something you might like to play with just for fun. I've already built my container, so we're just going to go ahead and click on Start. Once the window pops up, I'm going to minimize this guy. Alright. So as you can see, it starts up fairly quick, gets to a graphical display, and starts the installer. We can say run installer, and we are already in English. Well, let's push on through. Important information, blah blah blah, continue. No partitions, so we want to set up partitions. Select our raw virtual box and format with the B file system. Continue. Initialize. Write changes. And OK. And we can go ahead and close our partition utility. We could choose our target disk. And we can say begin. What has amazed me about this is how quick this install process goes. And we're all ready to restart the system. Okay, so on our desktop we've got the hard disk, we've got our home folder, and we've got trash. Pretty simple and straightforward. What you won't see is an obvious launcher if you're coming from a Windows or Mac OS background. And so we want to go up to our little feather up here in the corner. And we can look at the about information. So the way I've got this set up, 4 gigs of RAM, I've got 2 cores dedicated. The kernel, it's a nightly build from November 29th, 2017, and it's been up for a minute. Take a look at some of our other options. Applications. Character map. Kind of interesting there. We've got Haiku Depot. And let's go to Internet and Network. Okay, so nothing's showing up here by default. Let's check Haiku ports, and we'll say refresh repositories. Let's blow this up full size. Still nothing. Okay, so let's do manage repositories. So we'll go to Haiku ports x64 current. We'll say enable. Some tasks are still running. Keep trying. Maybe that'll switch over. Cancel task. Okay, so that did in fact switch over. So let's go ahead and close this and we'll refresh. While we're doing that, we can come back up to our little feather guy and we can on the desktop applets and say workspaces, and let's go over to another workspace and we'll keep playing. So demos, you've got a couple interesting things here. Haiku 3D, which brings up a 3D animated logo, and we'll switch to another desktop. We can do GLT pot, which is running at over 100 frames per second. Pretty impressive. And still in the 60 plus as we enlarge that. And keep in mind this is on a virtual machine. Let's see, demos. Here's a Sudoku game. We'll just get out of that. Demos. It's Cortex. Okay. Not quite sure what that guy's for. I had heard of the BeOS in the 90s. I had always wanted to play with it, but never had a machine capable of running it at the time. So this is my next best option here. Network preferences. Link speed is showing as 10 megabit. Well, let's go to another desktop. And we've got Launchbox. Terminal. And let's just for grins. No route to host. And somewhere our networking has gone awry. So that's alright. We'll mess with that later. Alright, let's head back to Haiku Depot. And I think it's done crashed on us. Another crash. Let's see if we can go for 3. No? Okay, well. There's an included mail app. Nothing terribly overwhelming there. Just a nice basic mail app. Surprised there's no information about the app, but that's alright. Little notepad type application. Media player. Alright. Alright, so let me shut this down for just a moment. And after I restart, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back with you. It seems that our issues may have been created by me. I'm not entirely sure. But currently I have no network access. So if we come in here, run ifconfig, it is showing that we're not connected for some reason. So if we want to come up here and go to network status, network preferences, it's claiming that it's connected, but we're not getting a DHCP address. I've got the VM set up in bridged mode. I'm not entirely sure why it's not pulling an IP address. So makes it a little bit more limited what we can show here. A lot of commands are the same as what you'd find on a Unix derived system. Help. And our directory structure is a simplified version of what you'd find in a Unix or Linux system. Alright, so overall impressions of the system, other than some of the glitches that we've seen with the networking and some programs crashing, if this had seen some accelerated development, I think this could have been a pretty solid contender for some of the market share that Linux currently has. I think it's pretty impressive that running in a virtual machine, you can get the frame rates I was seeing from some of the demos. But at the same time, this seems to be a system that is still entrenched in 1990s ideologies, and considering that it doesn't have you create users and set passwords when you install, it makes it more of a hobby or enthusiast type system rather than something that could be legitimately used for day-to-day work. That's not to say it's not fun to play around with Haiku, especially if you were interested in BeOS and never got the chance to run it. But you're going to be much better served for a production level machine going with some iteration of a Linux distribution, or sticking with something more mainstream coming out of Redmond or Cupertino. On that note, I'm going to wrap up the video here. If you like this video, please subscribe, leave a comment, share the video with your friends, and we'll see you in the next video.